So you think you're ready to hit record? Well, make sure you check these 5 things before you do to ensure that you get the best results out of all your footage. Intro.
3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning into my channel. Blaze here with Moves Media, and today I wanted to just share some quick and easy things that you should do anytime you hit that record button. Now, I've been to a lot of shoots where I'm in a hurry and I forget to do 1 or 2 of these things, and it can run into problems later when you're reviewing your footage. So make sure to check these items off your list and to get the best quality results out of all the footage that you're shooting. So item number 1 is to check your gear is clean. If you're switching lenses or you're in a dusty environment, it's really easy to get dust spots on your lens or on your sensor. And a real quick remedy to that is to make sure you use a small air blower to blow your sensor or the front of your lens to make sure everything's clean and you're not going to be finding dust spots later. It's really hard to detect dust spots, especially if you're using a small mirrorless camera or DSLR. So making sure that you do a thorough check on the sensor and giving the front of the lens a wipe with the lens cloth is going to save you a ton of frustration when you get into the editing room and you see annoying dust spots in your footage. Check number 2 is to check your settings. The most obvious are frame rate, shutter speed, and your resolution. If you're filming in slow-mo, you wanna make sure you're shooting at a high shutter speed. You wanna make sure that you're exposed properly for the light if you're moving environments. And also, you wanna make sure that you're doubling your frame rate with your shutter speed for the most cinematic look of your footage. Color temperature is another really important thing to check. If you're using auto white balance, you want to make sure that your scene's not looking a little bit too yellow or a little bit too blue, and that can sometimes happen depending on your lighting. And if you're using manual color temperature, then you want to make sure that you're adjusting it when you change environments, change rooms, because all lighting situations are different when you change environments. You definitely can correct your color in post-production, but it's better to get it correct the first time, and it'll save you time in the post-production process. The other thing about color temperature and the look, shutter speed, and frame rate is if you're using multiple cameras, you definitely want to make sure that your settings are locked in the exact same way on both cameras and both cameras look good. So your camera's clean, you've dialed in your settings. The next thing you're going to want to do is format your SD card. Before you show up to any shoot, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you've dumped any important footage off your SD cards so that when you're formatting it on your new project, you're not going to be losing any important information. Formatting your SD card is really important before any shoot to make sure that you're not going to run out of space right at the beginning stages of when you start shooting. You also want to make sure you have an extra SD card on hand at all times, and your SD card is the appropriate amount of space for what you want to shoot. One of the biggest complaints for bad video quality is bad audio. Real important thing to check before you start rolling is your audio dialed? If you're using a lav mic, you want to make sure there's no ruffling of a shirt. If you're using overhead mics, you want to make sure that they're picking up crystal clear audio, and basically just check all audio you're recording that it's dialed in and it's not going to ruin your footage when you go back to playback and edit in post-production. You want to make sure that you have headphones on hand so you're not just gauging the meter and the levels on your camera, making sure all the audio sounds great to your ear, really important check to do, and then you're not going to run into problems later. Other things to check are just echo of the room, making sure that the sound quality is dialed in, because dialed in sound quality is going to make for a much better video. The last tip, and probably the most important thing to check before you start rolling, is making sure that your focus is dialed. I'll always punch in on a subject's eye, make sure it's nice and crisp, and then not have to worry later that when I review my footage that my focus was soft. Nothing worse than getting through a whole shoot or even one shot and finding the whole time you were slightly off focus and you got to reshoot the whole thing. And that's it, guys. 5 real quick and easy tips that you can do before hitting that record button. I like to make sure I have a list printed out and I physically check it off, just because it can be really chaotic when you're shooting. You can be in a big rush and you want to make sure that you dial in each one of those settings. I hope this video was helpful. If you like this video, smash that like button and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.